Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a great day. So in this video, I'll be talking about alternatives to legendary cards. As you all know, legendary cards are the hardest cards to obtain in the game, and if you don't have the best card in the game, the credit card, you won't be able to get all of the legendary cards, let alone a couple of them. And in order to get them without spending a lot of money, you have to be extremely lucky, which you probably aren't because you clicked on this video. So in this list, I'll be telling you guys alternatives that can also serve the function of the legendary cards. I would just like to point out that legendary cards are supposed to give good value, and have some special ability that makes them unique and legendary. So there is no way normal cards will be able to serve the whole function of what legendaries do. Also, I gotta give credit where it's due. I got the idea and cards from a forum post I saw from Marsupial1. I will leave the link to his post in the description down below. The Ice Wizard is a legendary card that can be unlocked at Arena 5 and costs 3 elixir to be deployed. He is, in my opinion, one of the best legendary cards because he is able to slow down enemy troops, has splash damage, and can also attack air, all at a very cheap cost. It would be hard to replace him, but I do think the poison spell would be the best alternative because it is able to do what the Ice Wizard does but in a bigger radius, which I think makes up for the 1 extra elixir. It is also a spell card, meaning that it cannot be taken out, while the Ice Wizard could be damaged by a predicted fireball. Less preferable options would be the Bomber, which is able to do splash damage while being 3 elixir, but it is not able to counter air, nor is it able to slow down troops. The Baby Dragon could also do a bit more than the Bomber at 1 more elixir, but cannot slow troops down just like the Bomber. In my opinion, the Princess is the best legendary card there is in the game, simply because she has an enormous range of 9 tiles, which can shoot towers and buildings from a distance where she will not be shot by the arena towers. She also does splash damage, which can take out hordes of troops, both ground and air, all at a cheap cost of 3 elixir. I think the Princess is the hardest troop to replace just because of her very unique abilities, but the best replacement would probably be the Archers. They have the same cost and can shoot air troops, but only have a range of 5 tiles. They also can't do splash damage, but they do have a decent DPS and higher HP, so they should prove somewhat efficient at cleaning up hordes. The Musketeer is also a decent replacement for the Princess. She has a range of 6 tiles, which is further than Archers and does good damage. The only problem is that she costs 1 extra elixir and can't do splash damage, but other than that, she's an okay replacement. The Baby Dragon makes his way onto this list as well. He is able to do splash damage, which is efficient against hordes, but only has a short range of 3 tiles, as well as costing 4 elixir. Next up is the Miner. You either love it or hate it. Cycle decks including this card are dominating higher level games, as well as the top of the tournaments. It has high enough hit points, so it can act as a tank, and when left alone on a tower, it can do over 500 damage, allowing the user to obtain broken value by costing only 3 elixir. Also decreasing its pop-up time from 1 second to 0.7 seconds make it unbalanced and harder to counter for less experienced players. As it is a card with very unique and overpowered abilities, it is hard to find a card that can replace it. One of his greatest abilities is that he is very versatile, as he can appear anywhere on the map, while having a good amount of hit points. He has roughly 1/3 of the Giant's hit points at tournament standards. If you are looking for versatility, the Goblin Barrel is probably the best option, as it can appear anywhere in the game, and they both have the same elixir cost. The only problem is that goblins have very little HP, and when the 3 goblins' hit points are put together, it is only half of the Miner's. As well as having little HP, Goblin Barrel is too easily countered with direct damage cards such as Zap, Arrows, as well as troops that can do splash damage such as Fire Spirits or Valkyrie, usually resulting in a negative elixir trade. But if they are left alone on a tower, they can do more damage than the Miner himself. The Knight is a less preferable option, as it can't be played anywhere in the map, but he has the same cost, same damage, and more HP, but he is unable to mimic the Miner's greatest strength to spawn anywhere. Sparky is one of those cards that allow you to win a game because of it, or lose a game because of it, meaning it is a high risk, high reward card. If it is able to get a hit on a tower, it can do devastating damage, but it does take 5 seconds to charge up, and that can be easily reset by using a zap. Surrounding it with troops such as skeletons, goblins, or barbarians make it too easy to stop Sparky, but Sparky's best ability is definitely his catastrophic damage at a cost of 6 elixir. She has decent hit points and a range of 4.5 tiles. To mirror Sparky's high damage, a balloon could do the job. It is an air troop, meaning that people may be less prepared for it. She does a bit more damage than Sparky. As it has a higher hit speed, you are more likely to do damage to your opponent's tower, while having death damage and being an air troop give it a slighter upper hand over Sparky, as well as being cheaper by 1 elixir. So in my opinion, the balloon is a good replacement for Sparky. In fact, I think it is better than Sparky itself. The only problem is that the balloon will only target buildings and not troops, but this isn't a big deal, as the Sparky is not exactly the best at taking out troops. The P.E.K.K.A. is a less preferable option, as she costs 1 extra elixir and can't do splash damage, and she does less damage than Sparky. The Lava Hound is the first legendary card that is able to be unlocked in the game. It costs 7 elixir and only targets buildings. When it dies, it splits into 6 lava pups, which can pack a punch. I think that the Lava Hound is one of the worst legendaries, just because it is the main star of the deck. Unlike the Princess or the Ice Wizard, he can't simply slide into any deck. Instead, you have to craft a deck around him and possibly change your playstyle, which I don't think is really worth it. Yet, its tankiness and surprise factor can still help you win the game. The Lava Hound's best ability is that it is a tank in the air, meaning that people may have more trouble with it than a ground tank, such as a Golem. Nevertheless, the Golem is still a solid card. It has higher hit points than the Lava Hound at a cost of 1 extra elixir. It is also able to split after death, which can also help tank and do a bit of damage. However, the Lava Pups are able to do more damage than the Golemites, which I think is one of the Lava Hound's best abilities. The fact that after dying it releases many more smaller troops that do good damage, as well as having enough hit points so that the arena tower needs 2 hits to take 1 Lava Pup out. But still, the Golem is a good option if you like playing a slow beatdown deck. The Giant is still a respectable tank unit at a cheaper cost of 5 elixir, but I don't think it is a great replacement for someone who wants to play a Lava Hound deck, just because it doesn't have as much hit points. The Lumberjack was one of the new legendary cards that was added in the July 4th update. I see it as a slightly nerfed mini P.E.K.K.A. that carries a jar of steroids, and when he dies he drops it. Basically, it is a mini P.E.K.K.A. that is slightly weaker and has a rage spell put together at a cheaper cost of 4 elixir. That being said, you can't really look further than the mini P.E.K.K.A. or the rage spell. The mini P.E.K.K.A. is probably the better option, as it has a higher damage per second and slightly more hit points. The mini P.E.K.K.A. is also able to take out cards that are in the current meta, such as Royal Giant and Miners. There are also many decks where the mini P.E.K.K.A. is heavily involved. The rage spell is probably not the best replacement, just because it only costs 1 less elixir and you're not able to do guaranteed damage. However, if used at the right time, it can do catastrophic damage to your opponents and give you good value. And last but probably least, we have the Log. The Log is classified as a spell card and costs 2 elixir. It is considered by many, including myself, as the worst or most useless legendary there is. I feel like if it could target air troops, it may be a better card. However, right now it is not very useful, so I am going to keep this list short. In fact, if you are using the Log, you should probably replace it with the Zap spell, Fire Spirits or Arrows, as they do splash damage and are good at taking out many small or medium-sized troops. The Log also has a pushback effect, which is smaller to the stun effect that Zap is able to do. The Fireball also has a pushback effect, but it does cost 2 more elixir than the Log. So that will be that for this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.